Welcome back to the Australian Open. Well over 100 degrees today, and that's why the roof is closed and we'll set now for this men's quarterfinals. Jo-Wilfried Tsonga has played 85 career matches. Fernando Verdasco has played 344. Let's send it upstairs to Cliff and Brad.
Thanks a lot, B-Mac. We want to first of all talk about Andy Roddick before we get into this, because we're going to have a while to talk about it, and Brad's got some very interesting thoughts on it. But, you know, we had one of our crew come up here and talk to Brad about, you know, taking a look and assessing the differences between these two in the semi-finals. And Brad was having a difficult time coming up with pluses for Andy Roddick outside of the serve, right?
The big plus if you're in the Andy Roddick camp is remember that you're 1-0 against him. You beat him the last time. Forget about the first 14 out of 15 losses. Remember the win. It's most important. Watch that tape and go out there and let it fly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the X's and O's.
Oh, there's a lot on the Rogers side. It's you know.
So that's how we see that one. As for the one that's coming up here now, yesterday you were very definitive about the roof story, which they've already addressed, but I think you should do it again.
Well, I felt like if this match, it's a lot hotter, by the way, than yesterday. I mean, it's probably a good 15 degrees warmer. I really felt like if this match is played outside, 100% chance Verdasco wins this match.
Because?
He is a lot fitter, and I'm not sure about Tsonga's fitness outside in the heat, kind of like Djokovic. But all of a sudden, now you turn this into an indoor match. There's air conditioning, and it's a big advantage for Tsonga because now all of a sudden he doesn't have to worry about getting physically tired. And I think his game is a little bit better indoors. So this becomes about a tennis match and about X's and O's opposed to the fitness becoming a part of the equation.
I'll sign on for that definitely for today as far as the roof is concerned today. But we saw a lot of outside play last year from Tsonga that was pretty good, Brad.
Yeah, he got incredibly hot here, and he's a shot maker, and you know what? He pumps on adrenaline, and that's a big thing today for Verdasco is match the adrenaline of Jo-Willie Tsonga. Don't let him get into where all of a sudden he excites the crowd and he's the one fist pumping all the time. Because James Blake, Cliffy, did not match the enthusiasm the other night of Tsonga. And if you're Verdasco today, bring your enthusiasm.
So let's see who has the advantage according to Brad.
Tail of the tape. On the serve, I give it to Tsonga. He's got a much bigger serve. The speed, I also give it to Tsonga. A little better on the scrambling ability. Forehand, big advantage to Verdasco. The backhand, I also give to Verdasco. The net play, I give to Tsonga. The defense, I also give to Tsonga. And the fitness, I give a huge advantage to Verdasco.
You're giving the speed to Tsonga, huh?
Yep.
Okay. I would have thought that would have been worth a balanced tick for both, but you say they're not going to.
They don't like to let me give both ticks. You know, I got to go down there and do. I got to do a little fighting with them down there.
Killer, how's your mood today after that slaughtering that you took over there on on which was that? Margaret Court Arena.
Yeah, we had about 5,000 people out there, Cliff, sweltering in the heat.
5 or 5,000?
550 maybe. It was very hot out there, but I do agree with everything Brad just said. I do give all those ticks in the same boxes that he did. I think it's a slight. I didn't give a big advantage to Verdasco if the roof was open. I give a slight advantage to him, but now the roof is closed. I think give a slight advantage across to Tsonga.
Thank you, Killer. Underway.
And Darren, I think a big thing for Verdasco is being aggressive on his serve. And sometimes he struggles with the serve, and that's why he beat Murray. He was aggressive with his first serve.
Especially at the end of the match. He was going for winners, going for 3 points on the serve, and it worked great.
He's been mixing it up a little more, Brad. Over the last few matches he's played, he's been spinning a lot of those first serves in. And he's actually looking for some good direction on that first serve so he can line up a forehand. But every now and then he'll serve a ball around about 130, 135 mile an hour, which is good to see.
He must have just heard you. That was 209 Ks.
I also don't think Tsonga is not fit. You know, I think the problem he's had the last few weeks is he's been managing a back injury. He trains extremely hard, and we saw him here last year. He was in incredible shape compared to a couple of years ago. So I think he's fit, but the work he's been able to put in the last month or so has been restricted to really managing that back injury. On the other hand, Verdasco, he's a bull.
And Darren, I think a big thing today for Verdasco is to match the enthusiasm of Tsonga. Don't let Tsonga do all the celebrating and firing up. If you're Verdasco, don't do a little sprint into your chair, and also match his enthusiasm. And Cliff, the thing I like most about Tsonga's ground game is he mixes it up. He'll roll one with spin, he'll slice, he'll rip it.
Well, he hit it flat as well. Remember how he took out Nadal in the semis last year? That was a lot of power in that game.
So he has a lot of variation in his game.
That's Sales, and Verdasco is on the board, 1 game first set, best of 5 quarterfinal round of the men's. It's going to be Andy Roddick in the semis. My goodness, it's another matchup against former world #1, now #2, Roger Federer, trying to regain that spot. Can't do it here in Australia, but he would be certainly making a big step toward regaining it if he wins here. It's Federer Roddick men's semi-final, 3:30 a.m. live coverage here on ESPN2.
And Cliffy, they're saying tomorrow it's going to be the hottest day maybe ever in Melbourne, 115. And that match is going to be played in the evening. I think it's going to be blazing saddles in the evening. But I think in the evening the roof will be open.
I agree. I can't imagine that they'd close it at 7:30. The sun will still be out somewhat, but not for long. It's summertime down under, obviously, so sun stays out a lot later than it is back in the US, where we understand things are still really cold.
How good was Fed last night?
Strong. A 25-year-old from Madrid, fan of Real Madrid, of course. Made huge strides here in the last 12 months.
15.
Also, guys, it was 44 degrees in Adelaide today, and normally Melbourne gets Adelaide's weather a day later, so it's going to be blistering hot tomorrow. 44 is sort of Las Vegas weather, what, 115?
Between
110 to 115.
Yeah.
And you know what's tricky here, Darren? When it's hot, it's always windy here. They get like the Santa Ana winds. I've never seen it hot and still. Great wide serve from Tsonga.
That's the kind of tennis that took out Nadal last year in the semis from Tsonga, who's 23 now. He's been around a while, Muhammad Ali lookalike, so that's his, the nickname, one of his nicknames. 10-2 here at the Australian, having got to the final last year. Terrific performance, then injuries, which we'll talk about, and still ended up with a very solid year overall.
He missed French, Wimbledon, and didn't play until the Open, and he still finished the year around 6th in the world. I mean, had he not missed half the year, he might have been a lot higher. Excellent start to this tournament. Smoking Juan Monaco, and he had a very tough match with Ljubicic. He was down 6-3 and that third set breaker to go down 2-1. Takes out Dudi Sela and then James Blake.
Tsonga holds, and we are even.
1 game all.
He had a right knee injury that kept him out for those 3 months that you just talked about. He had surgery on May 27th.
And he is a big man. I think he's, Darren, you think he's a little taller than 6'2"?
He looks it.
And I think he's pushing 220 pounds. He's one of the thicker guys on tour, but still moves awfully well for a guy his size. Looks like a linebacker.
Tsonga says he got his strength from his dad, born in Africa, and kindness from his mother. His parents still live in Le Mans. Verdasco, meanwhile, there are his results. Took out a former finalist, Jack Clement, then Stepanek, who had beaten him earlier, and then he took out Murray. That was the big one.
He lost 12 games in the first 9 sets. That was the best start to the first 3 matches in this tournament ever. Great tennis from Verdasco.
Also, guys, big props to Andy Murray. It's come out that he's actually really sick. He's been told by the doctors he can't fly home for a couple of days, so he's still here in Australia. He's on antibiotics, and he really gave no mention of the fact that he was struggling in that match against Verdasco. So big props to Andy.
You could kind of see it, couldn't you, Darren?
It shows you how fit he was, that if he had the flu and he couldn't take any medicine and he could still make it 5 sets. It's pretty good effort.
It's a little different to what we saw here in that Roddick Djokovic match.
Well, Djokovic didn't. He didn't say that he was ill, did he, Darren?
That he was tired and his body was sort of cramping.
But not because of any flu or antibiotic necessity. But he did whinge a bit, as you guys here down under say. No breaks. This is going to be a good one. Settle back. Fasten the seatbelts.
Seats, please. Thank you.
Fernando Verdasco is up by 2 games to 1. We're on serve here. It's last year's finalist, Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, serving.
He's going to be tough to beat if he continues to serve like that. That was what he did so well against James Blake the other night.
If there is a hiccup in his serve, I don't see it. Very good mechanics from where I sit. Ball toss not too high, always in the same spot, just over the right shoulder. Good movement into the ball.
Sometimes, though, Cliffy, the second serve, the MPHs come down on Tsonga, and I think that's an advantage Verdasco has to take in this match. Second serve right now, if you're Verdasco, get aggressive, get on the offense. That is a rough shot from a lefty. That's kind of like Nadal, where you go the lefty forehand to the righty forehand. It's like a little sneaky jab you don't see coming. And Darren, right now, the thing I see from Verdasco, for the first time playing in the quarterfinals of a big match, the body language looks like he believes.
Brad, he spent the last 3 or 4 weeks really getting fired up on the court. I don't think there's going to be any problem with letting Tsonga control the crowd. He's showing a lot of emotion on the court in the tournament in Brisbane, the first tournament of the year, and also here so far. That's the big one for Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, is the inside-out forehand, what he likes to play. But as this match wears on, he's got to hit that well, because that's going to the strength of Verdasco.
Which is the strength?
Verdasco's forehand is his strength, and,
okay.
and Tsonga loves to run around and hit that inside-out forehand.
Yeah, but it's not a bad idea to attack the flat ball into the lefty's forehand, even if it is a strength sometimes, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, I totally agree, but he's got to hit it well.
Oh, tremendous shot.
You're going to see a shot here of one of the most admirable guys in the history of tennis. Ken Rosewall. I mean, if you judge for longevity as a player to be important, he may be the best player that ever played.
Didn't he have the longest separation between getting...
Wins at the French, yes. Yes. When he was
39, he got to the finals of Wimbledon and the US Open. Oh, good athleticism. You got to get up.
2-2. Okay, so you say Verdasco's forehand is his strength. I want you to take a look at this because there's something very interesting that this Exmo is going to show you. Look at this, Brad. See how he closes the face at this stage. Now, only on the Exmo will you see this. He opens the face now a little bit, all right? Now, watch this. Before he makes his final move into it, the racket face is closed again. Now he moves into it, low to high. That gives him some topspin, but it's sort of interesting that he's got that little quirky movement back there that, again, watching it live, you just don't see it so quick.
You're on fire with that Exmo. You can break the stroke down. And he has a little bit of that bolo finish like Nadal had, where he finishes over the left shoulder. Beautiful point.
Rafa Nadal against Gilles Simon. That's the Spaniards against the French. That's Wednesday, 3:30 a.m. live coverage, everyone. I know if you've been following this tournament, you will want to see that one because Simon moves very well. He's a little bit Andy Murray-like. Here's another.
He beat Nadal in Madrid indoors in an over 3-hour match in October, end of October. So he's got Nadal's attention.
This is another France versus Spain matchup, by the way.
And Brad, I'm liking the way Verdasco is using the whole court at the moment. It's not being tempted to just play Tsonga's backhand and play him half a court. He's going hard at the forehand side and moving Tsonga early in the points.
And Darren, I also feel like that Tsonga hits his forehand so much better when he's running around the backhand. So the backhand cross court can be there for Verdasco, and also the forehand kind of like Nadal from the middle of the court to the forehand side. I think that's the side he has to hurt Tsonga, is to the forehand. Couple of loose errors to give Tsonga first opportunity.
Yeah, it's hard not to make a boxing analogy when you're talking about Tsonga, but it just feels like the left jabs are going out for the first 4 rounds here. They're just getting a sense of each other. They've never played.
Very strong killer. Oh, how good was that topspin lob? Clean winner, just short of the baseline on the other side. And we've got a break chance for the first time.
That was a great swinging slice serve, but I thought that was an awfully conservative approach for Verdasco. He's got to be more aggressive.
-3 for Tsonga, and Verdasco dead even in the differential. Break point.
Oh, beautiful slice.
He ran into it.
I think he thought the slice was going to be a little bit shorter. And Darren, how's the humidity down there? They look like they're sweating rockets.
Yeah, the temperature's about 92 degrees. Humidity's okay. You can feel the air conditioning on. It's absolutely beautiful, to be honest.
Missed it. Game point. Before I forget, Brad, you've got to tell us about the conversation that you had with Andre and what he said about closing this roof this morning.
He feels for the people. You know, he's more worried about the people, but he's almost like, can you send the people home, open up the roof, and let the fellas decide this thing in the sweltering heat?
Let the people watch it on TV.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny.
Andre liked to play in this weather because, you know, it really tests your mettle.
Game point. And game to Verdasco, so solid as a rock, this Spaniard. 3-2, no breaks yet.
J.W. Tsonga, big win. We got another young guy to talk about now. 6'7".
Tsonga was a better player. He is coming of age.
6'3". This kid is getting better and better and better.
And it's out, and he's done it. And the ride continues. You're seeing the birth of a new star.
That was a year ago as Tsonga made his way to this major final here, the first major of the year down under, summertime in the southern hemisphere, Melbourne, Australia. We're live here with Tsonga in action again against Verdasco of Spain, playing for a spot in the semi-final now. On serve 2-3.
Excellent second serve, 166 Ks down the middle.
Darren, would you please share with everybody the story of Verdasco's trip to Las Vegas, when it happened, who he worked with, how long he was there? Take your time. It's a good story, and I want to hear it.
Well, he's been coming back and forth for a few times in 2008, and obviously he's part of that Adidas High Performance Development Team. Gil Reyes is the strength and conditioning trainer for that. So Gil has seen quite a few players, but the one player that's really lit his eyes up is this guy, Fernando Verdasco.
Hey, Darren, I know that he's been doing a lot of hardcore training with Gilly. Has he hit the hill yet?
I don't believe he's hit the hill, to be honest. I was in there a few times when he was training and obviously spent a little bit of time on the court with him, but he's been just tearing the house down with Gil.
What does hit the hill mean, please?
Well, there's a hill that Andre would run when he's getting ready to play, so only Gil could answer that.
It's one that probably, Cliffy, in your young days that you would have avoided. Did you like any hill training?
No.
But the real story of that is he was there from about the 20th of December all the way through to the 30th, and on Christmas Day they spent 4 hours in the gym training.
And he said he said goodbye to Andre, who went up with Steffi to do some skiing, and he likes to ski, so he felt bad. But the point was that he was there working his heart out in preparation for the early part of the year.
And that's why he's still in this tournament. He's put in the work, and he deserves to be here.
It's a great shot. An easy game there for Tsonga, but it's not just coming there once. He's been coming a few times, and he's building the blocks to become a better athlete. And as you know, and Brad knows this extremely well, spending time with Gil is not just about the training. It's about lessons in life, and there's not a better man on the planet than Gil Reyes.
And I know he's talking here every day to Gilly, and he has such inspiration, and he has, you know, as much as the physical training, it's the mental training, and it's the life balance that's made him become a better person.
Verdasco normally gets a very high percentage of first serves in, and this is true of today's match as well. As you can see, 83%
And that was due to his struggles last year, in the last couple of years, on double faulting and just confidence in his second serve. And there's nothing wrong with his first serve. It was just the confidence factor on his second serve. It was a good approach, just a little bit of a lazy volley here. He cupped it. Darren, one thing I've also noticed from Verdasco this year, it seemed like he would bludgeon more forehands, take more of a risk on every single forehand. It seems like he's going for a lot more variety and construction of his forehand instead of just trying to bludgeon it.
That's a really good point. He's opening up the court more, and I think a lot of that's got to do with now he feels like he's got the legs to cover the court. He feels like he doesn't have to pull the trigger too early in the point.
Thinking about a challenge here. So he walks up there in order to see whether he can see a mark, right?
That's clay court, right? He's looking for the mark, found his mark, and all right.
Tsonga's challenge in the call. Left side baseline. Ball was called out.
But everybody knows that Fernando's had enormous talent for a number of years, but it's really been about the belief in himself and executing when he gets into a winning position, and that's probably what's let him down in the past, the last couple of years. And you see that ball just long, a couple of game points for Verdasco, and that's where I think Gill's been great for him, is teaching this guy to really believe in himself when he gets his nose ahead to close out matches.
That's Tsonga at his best, Cliffy, when he runs around that backhand, that modern forehand, and then he flattens it out to the bigger side of the court. And then the key to that, after you hit a shot like that, is scurrying back to the middle, so maybe you get a second one if it comes back that you can take advantage of. Beautiful flat forehand. Good aggressive tennis from Tsonga. These guys are seriously taking some cuts at the ball. Perfect conditions for tennis indoors. And Darren, you think the court plays slower now that the roof is closed?
Yes.
The balls get a little fluffier?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great defensive forehand there that Tsonga came up with, because it looked for all the world like it was out of his reach, or that lefty swinging it wide.
I think so. Verdasco was surprised it came back.
I know he was.
And he had the whole court to work with, and now faces a break point.
This is his second chance to break.
Beautiful second serve.
That's the big difference in his game to what it was 6 months ago. He's now got a lot of confidence when he throws that serve up, that ball toss up, that he can execute a good, strong second serve. And we saw him play in New Haven, Brad, and remember all the double faults and the way he was spinning his serve in?
Yeah, he was not hitting his first serve that day, Darren, more than 90 miles an hour. And that was almost a 100-mile-an-hour second serve, biting to the backhand, and what a forehand. Wow.
Another chance to break. Here's what happened on the last point when he had break point. Second serve here from Verdasco. Look at that. Yeah, let it go even a little further, guys. A little further. Look where he is when he makes that return, and that opens
He does
the court
well
up.
just to get his racket on it. That was some serious hitting from Tsonga.
He needs another one of those. Does Verdasco. Wow, that ball, he got a good angle on it.
Once again going to the swinging serve. That is another big flat forehand.
Advantage Tsonga.
Cliffy, the last couple of deuce points, the first ball that Verdasco has hit has been a little bit too spinny, and then immediately Tsonga is making him pay for it.
I tell you, I can't, I don't want to say this ad nauseum, but this is what he did to Nadal. Lefty. Last year in the semis. But that wide serve is really working fine.
That is 3 break points, 3 wide serves to the backhand, and then a beautiful forehand once again.
Cut his hand a little bit when he put it down on the surface. That was some serious speed.
You know, he's one of those guys that doesn't look, Darren, like he'd be that fast, but Tsonga covers a lot of court. So he left a little skin on the court?
I think so.
Keeps sliding that one out wide to the backhand side, and he saved a couple of break points doing that. Now it's game point Verdasco. Escaped a bit of a trap there. Still no service breaks. We're on serve. 4-3.
My greatest match, I have it on my website, is when I was younger, and I beat Andy Roddick. He'll hate me for saying that.
I saw her yesterday, and she walked on the court, and she started laughing because she knew I'd probably seen it. And I said that wasn't fair. I was like, when we were 10, I literally had to run around in the shower to get wet. I was this big, and she was bench pressing dump trucks already at that moment. So I was like, I told, so.
Might have been 11. Doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter.
Well, the score gets better for her every time she tells a story also. She's good at not letting the truth get in the way of a good story sometimes. It was I think it was 6-4.
There's an argument about the score. I think I beat him like 6-1.
She always just gives me crap but she won't ask her about it. She won't give me a rematch.
There's no need for a rematch. A win.
So Serena Williams still alive in this championship. A rough time today. She was down a set in 5-3, but came back and won it. She has 9 career titles. Andy Roddick has won the U.S. Open because #1 at the end of that year. That was 2003, wasn't it? And
Serena's still alive in singles and doubles.
Love 15. Tsonga serving here at 3-4 on serve first set.
A set in 5-3 down today, and it was just routine victory for Serena. from Verdasco and immediately taking offense and never giving up on the point. And Cliff, I told you a big stat in this match was how well Verdasco could handle the Tsonga second serve. And so far, he's starting to do a lot of damage on the second serve. Tsonga is only winning 36% of second serve points. 4 out of 11.
That second ace for Tsonga in the match wins him the point, and it's 15-30.
But on the other hand, when he gets the first serve in, first serve points won Tsonga 9 out of 9.
What a great point there from Tsonga. I tell you, when he turns it on, he really turns it on. That forehand he uses fine, goes into the backhand side, and then he made a very tough volley. This one, as you see, Verdasco trying to chase it down unsuccessfully, but that volley from Tsonga.
That was a good pass down below the net and an outstanding volley.
30-all.
That's what makes him so difficult, Cliff, as well, is that Tsonga always looks like he's got a couple of extra gears to go to.
That's exactly
Verdasco
right.
controlled the tempo of the first 2 points, and Tsonga stepped up to the line and said, you know what, you're not getting the first shot away. I'm going to pick up the level of my play.
Yeah.
Henri Leconte, Mansour Barami. Big game from Tsonga.
Was that Vilas that was in the Tsonga box?
Yes.
He always finds his way into the majors.
By the way, Serena Williams is in the press conference, was just about to get underway, so let's take a listen.
It was really hot out there. Again, I was just going to try to go for it, said with the roof open, but with the roof closed as well was definitely helpful.
How would you describe the heat?
Like I said, it was really an outer body experience. Like I felt I was watching someone play in a blue dress, and it wasn't me because it was so hot out there. And I kept trying to tell myself that it's not hot, you know, but it got hotter. So, or is it more hot?
How do you think you played? Are you happy with your game today?
I finally started playing a little better in the end of the second set. I felt like I was really off before in the first set. I was missing a lot of balls, and I started playing a little better.
I've got a few quick fashion questions. My girlfriend Leslie thinks you're the best dressed on the circuit. Where do you get your inspiration for your outfits?
I love design. I went to art school, and I just was blessed to work with a great company. You know, obviously Nike, that was able to, you know, have faith and put me in some interesting designs and some new designs. And I'm always inspired a lot by pop culture, and as well as couture, and keeping those two fresh, and obviously making it wearable and sellable.
And a lot of the players are wearing yellow, and your sister's dress, it's quite a nice one. Who designed her dress?
Well, Venus definitely designed her dress. It's called the Goddess dress. I love that one.
I love that.
It's fair to say that maybe you're not playing at the best of your game, I think.
Absolutely.
How encouraging is it that you're still here with the semifinals?
It's really encouraging because this whole tournament I feel like I've been off and I haven't been playing my best. But especially to pull out that win today, I was happy because I really wasn't playing my best today. My ball started flying, and you know, I was thinking, wow, this is just not my best tennis, or even close to it.
Can you remember another hotter day than today, Serena, in your career?
Honestly, I think my hottest match was against Resmo. I don't know what year that was, but it was, I think, in 42. It was miserable.
Where was that?
It was here.
How quickly did it cool down, Serena, once the roof was closed?
I felt that it cooled down pretty fast once the roof was closed. really fast.
Serena, you mentioned that previously that Obama, the inauguration, really inspired you. Do you think it sort of impacted your game?
Verdasco.
I wish I could say that it did, but
Verdasco needs 5
I just
games.
think that the spirit is just being proud to have that moment and let that moment be a part of that. And maybe it should affect me more, but that's totally separate. Like, I feel like it's such an amazing moment.
So on Laver Arena, as we were listening there to Serena, it's Verdasco on serve, 5-4, Tsonga to serve when we come back.
I'm probably the least favorite out of anybody that's going to make it to the semis here. So I'm just going to keep my head down and keep working.
I mean, look, it seems like he's playing well, you know, so it's obviously always dangerous.
He has nothing to prove.
And we've played each other many times, so I know his strengths, he knows mine, you know, there's no real secrets.
So that's what makes it fun, is that there's no script.
That's good service.
It's a tennis match, and you never know what's going to happen.
I don't know, you have the sense that Federer is pretty comfortable with playing against Roddick as many times as he's beaten him, balanced by the fact that last time they played Miami last year, Roddick won that match.
And he took the number 6 player in the world last night, and he absolutely made him look like there was no one on the other side of the net. 6-love in the second and third set.
And he said afterwards that he felt kind of sorry for him, wanted to get off the court as quickly as possible.
But he didn't throw him a bone and give him a game.
No, he sure didn't.
There's 3 good serves here to get out to 40 love.
And the first serve has been the dominant factor so far for Tsonga. When he's got it in play, he's won 14 out of 15 points. 56% first serve percentage. But the second serve is where Verdasco's had a little bit of success.
Well, Tsonga hasn't hasn't had a break point against his serve. And so he was down love 30, remember the last time that he served. But for the most part...
and Tsonga's had 4 break points.
Yeah, against Verdasco's serve, yes. So it is 5 games all now.
Excellent. Kind of a chip that floated on the line and skidded off the line.
If you're on the East Coast and your eyes are getting a little heavy, just go get a cup of coffee, because this is going to be some fun in this match.
I was going to say, get a cup of Joe and hang with us.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be here a while.
But we're going to be here for a while with some really great stuff. And remember, yesterday, honestly, in that Roddick match, I thought we were going to be there for a while with some really, really high-quality tennis against Djokovic, but it didn't turn out that way, as Djokovic just ran out of steam. And after the first set, the match deteriorated. That's not going to happen here.
No, we're in for a solid physical fight. And I think this first set is going to go a long ways to determining the outcome.
Just starting to get a little frustrated down here. All those break points he missed as well gave a little bit of a sarcastic look up to his box when he missed those 4 break points, but just a little frustration setting into Tsonga.
I was just thinking the same thing. He did that a little bit in the third set, Tsonga, against Blake. He started muttering over to his coach.
Wow. Vicious forehand, easy game, Verdasco. Tsonga to serve at 5-6 to try to get into a tiebreak for the first set. On a really toasty day here in Melbourne, everyone, that's the MCG, Melbourne Cricket Ground. Over 100,000 can be accommodated there for cricket, among other sports. And then you take a look at the Labour Arena with the roof closed on this day. Let's take a look at in some more detail, the Tsonga forehand, because this is one of the huge shots here. As you take a look at this, he let the racket drop below the level of the ball, but not by much, and that's why this ball is hit so relatively flat. You see how there's little wrist movement there, but now he sort of straightens it out, and the plane of the racket goes through the ball and that ball stays on the strings a long time, as you can see.
Also, I love on the modern forehand is his high take back.
And there's another one of those forehands.
He takes the racket back so high, he gets above the ball. And I love that because the ball bounces now, Cliffy, so much higher off the courts than it used to, especially on hard court. And one thing about Tsonga, too, such a versatile forehand. He can flatten that out, and he can hit this heavy topspin.
But it's the flat one that works for him on a court surface like this, don't you think? 15 all.
It was a heavy approach and a beautiful backhand pass where he forces Tsonga to have to hit a low volley.
There's that forehand again. I mean, it's almost slap shot, but he's got so much control of that. And we showed you how he lets the wrist go just a fraction, but still maintains excellent control as you take another look.
And I love that he gives himself such margin of error when he hits the big forehand. He doesn't aim for the lines. He gave himself 3 feet by 3 feet. That's a great thing to remember at home for the club player. Don't aim for the lines.
Fernando is getting pushed a long way back to return that second serve, and you can't afford to do that and then drop the backhand short. Tsonga is going to hit that first forehand.
Beautiful tennis, good wide serve. Forces Verdasco to go to a one-hander, and then the inside-out forehand.
Andy Roddick and Roger Federer. Roddick playing his 4th Open semi-final. He's never been to the final here, but you can see it live Thursday morning at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and then a re-air Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. But live coverage at 3 a.m. Eastern. .330. What did I say? 3:30.
3:30. 12:30 West Coast.
213. What is that in MPHs, Brad?
213 is a beautiful 132 out wide. That is a thick serve. And that is the biggest serve of the match for Verdasco.
Want to confirm that you agree with Brad when he said in the early analysis that Tsonga's foot speed is better than Verdasco's?
Yes.
But I think Verdasco can play longer. He's improved his fitness, and I tell you, he's improved his strength, because Darren, the other day, Verdasco was serving bigger in the 5th set than he was at any point during the match. Huge opportunity on a second serve for Verdasco.
Leading 2-zip in the tiebreak. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone, from down under in Melbourne, Australia, Laver Arena, Melbourne Park. You're watching Verdasco and Tsonga. It's Cliff Drysdale here with Brad Gilbert alongside Darren Cahill at courtside on a warm and toasty day outside. The roof is closed on Laver Arena, so this is an indoor match. It is a quarterfinal of the men's, and we are in the tiebreak of the first set. This is best of 5.
108 outside. That's toasty.
He served like this, Verdasco did, in the latter stages of the match between himself and Andy Murray. And
Darren,
that's what won it for him.
Darren, I can't believe this is the same guy that we saw at New Haven last year serving this way. This is such a joy to see this.
3-1. Tsonga's playing it a little more conservatively now, and that's just what Verdasco wants, I believe.
Verdasco never used to get that arm up into a good throwing position on that serve, and that's one of the things he's worked extremely hard on in the last 3 or 4 months, is to get that elbow up, a good throwing action, and that gives you more reliability on the serve and more pace.
And Tsonga didn't really have any opportunity to swing out. It was more aggressive hitting from Verdasco that allowed him to stay ahead the whole point.
1-4. Oh, he pulls that one cross, and that lands on the line. That gives him the big plus here in the tiebreak of the first set. And if you're right, Brad, this first set is huge in the bigger picture of this match.
And that was an outstanding get. Tsonga didn't quite do enough with that high forehand volley, and a big vamos.
Yeah, that's the first one we've really seen so far. Both players have been a little conservative in their enthusiasm out here, and it's a great sign for Verdasco.
And Darren, it started for me from the very first point as Verdasco looked the part today. And I know that he said that his goal was to make a quarterfinals this year. And I actually almost think that, you know, you got to aim a little higher. You can't be satisfied with only wanting to make a quarterfinals. He's too good of a player to only have that goal.
That was a double.
You got it. He's going to challenge.
I thought he was going to challenge the serve. The serve was way out.
Yeah, 100%. That was a double fault.
But that one was on the line, so point goes to Tsonga.
5-2, Verdasco with 3 challenges remaining.
That was the serve.
Yeah, we both were on that. Linesmen are getting nervous, Cliffy. Beautiful tennis.
So it doesn't look like it's going to affect the outcome of this tiebreak, as Verdasco is way out front.
Tell you, that's a rough serve where he pulls Tsonga outside the doubles alley and then dominates with the forehand.
Verdasco of Spain. The training that he has put in is paying off.
We was working so hard in Las Vegas for 2 weeks. Gil gave me a lot of confidence, made me believe in myself more. Agassi was my idol when I was young. And now in Vegas, I had the chance to speak with him one day, and he made me realize also a few things that are helping me so much right now. I am so happy to have these guys with me, you know, Gil and Agassi supporting me.
Welcome back to Melbourne, everyone. The Australian Open first set in 58 minutes goes to the Spaniard in his first career quarterfinal in a major. And Serena Williams, of course, she's won plenty of majors. She's trying to win her 4th Australian Open title. Patrick McEnroe here with Bud Collins. And with the roof open, Bud, in the opening set, it was trouble for Serena.
Once they closed the roof, she closed Kuznetsova.
Kuznetsova and ice down there, and after the opening set was won by the Russians. They took a break for about 25 minutes, closed the roof, but Kuznetsova still had a chance to close out Serena. She served for the match, but Serena really stepped up her game, but we've seen her do this so many times in big matches, and she did it again.
3 points away was poor Kuzi at 15-30. That set game, she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it, then she can, and Serena just keeps winning these things. How do you like this Verdasco?
Well, he's playing well, but Serena really attacking the ball off both wings in the final set. Really played her best set, probably of the tournament, in that final set. And she moves on into the Australian Open semifinal. She's the only American left. In fact, there's 3 Russians into the semifinals, but Serena's been there, done that, and on her radar is winning more major titles.
It's definitely more about winning to me. I have a tough opponent next round, so that's my next focus, but I'm all about winning Grand Slams, and I'm not worried about being number 1. I think it's going to come sooner or later.
Well, it will come for Serena if she can win this title, but it could also come for this lady, Elena Dementieva, at the bottom of your screen, taking on Suarez Navarro from Spain, the lady who took out Venus Williams earlier in the tournament. This one played earlier in the day, still temperatures soaring over 100 degrees, but Dementieva looking for her first major. She's 15-0, but now 16-0 with this win on the year. She dominated this match.
She's so very fit, too. She's been working so hard on her conditioning, and this was played in sunshine, and it was brutal, well over 100 degrees.
And Dementieva, gold medalist last year, really dominated play in this one. Match point, of course, the serve has always been an issue for Elena, but she seems to have cleaned that up. She wins it in convincing fashion, 6-2, 6-2. So here's how the draw stands now in the semifinals. Zvonareva taking on Dinara Safina, the all-Russian matchup there. And Serena Williams crashing the Russian party as she takes on Dementieva. Women's semifinals begin tomorrow, live right back here on ESPN2. Let's send it back inside of this one to Cliff and Brad.
Thank you, Patrick. It's game point and game there to Jo-Wilfried Tsonga of France, and he has got 1 game in the second set. Verdasco winning the first in the tiebreak. By the way, we should mention that there is another American left in here in the men's, and that is Andy Roddick. He's in the semifinals.
85% first serve percentage for Verdasco, and he wasn't laying his serve in at just 100 miles an hour. Good numbers, 14 winners to 8 unforced, and obviously Tsonga taking a few more chances, 18 winners to 20 unforced. It was a well-played set.
That bottom line is kind of important, though, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, those were, remember, 3 break points at 2-3, and Verdasco made all good serves wide to the backhand. You kind of got the feeling if Tsonga was able to get a break, you know, he could have opened things up, but Verdasco played clutch.
Darren Cahill at courtside. Some early thoughts about set 2 here. Is the momentum really behind the Spaniard now, Killer?
Yeah, I think so. I think Tsonga looks a little confused as to what he needs to do here to get through Verdasco. That was an interesting game, that last one, because Tsonga got up 30-love. Then he just kept on the baseline and really moonballed, softballed Verdasco for a couple of points to see how he handled it. Lost those 2 points. Then he picked the pace up again and held to 30, but he's just trying to work Verdasco out.
Love 15.
And Darren, that's that first serve. Sometimes I'm not really crazy about Verdasco when he goes to the slow change-up on the first serve. What's his mindset occasionally when he goes so low MPHs on the first serve?
He's just trying to open up the court, Brad, and not let his opponent get into any real rhythm. And that wasn't a bad serve. You know, Tsonga had to come up with an incredible shot to hit that forehand winner. So I think it's all about the variation for him. I know you like to see a guy that can serve 135, 140 miles per hour step up to the line and bring the heat.
Well said.
Tsonga is the one who's got to make this thing happen for himself, isn't he? And he's trying to work it out now, but you can overthink things sometimes.
That was an outstanding return. He cracked it, but great defense from Verdasco, and immediately turns the point around off a one shot.
See, that, to me, that two-hander that he punishes like that, and the forehand that he flattens out, or the two shots that Tsonga has got to go back to.
Yeah, that swinging wide serve didn't have as much bite on it, and Tsonga kind of anticipated and then immediately jumped on the second ball.
Break chance now. This is another shot here for Tsonga. He's had 4 in the match, no conversions, no breaks. And then he goes back to the tame like slice. Verdasco is the Spanish number 3 player behind Nadal and Ferrer.
He's about to become Spanish number 2.
After this event, yeah. Lost only 12 games en route to the last 16. Tough match with Andy Murray after that. Finished in the top 20 for the first time last year, Verdasco.
Good hitting from Tsonga. Push Verdasco way behind the baseline.
Yeah, little steps there for Verdasco. Just didn't have his feet in the right position to play that last backhand. It was a little too far out in front. Didn't get a good connection on the ball.
He's also got a little too conservative here, Verdasco, on the serve. He's allowing Tsonga to get into the point too easily.
Break point again.
Brad smiling.
Exactly.
Because?
That's the first serve he brought over 200 Ks this game.
And he threw that one into the body instead of the wide one to the backhand, which has been working fine.
Yeah, he has the strength. You don't let a guy get into too many points with cheap first serves. He's got a big lefty serve and go after that serve.
That's long, so he has a game point. Verdasco, he led the ATP match facts, by the way, just last year in first serve percentage numbers.
But he was not in the leader in games held and also in aces. And those are 2 stats for him that he can improve in drastically.
Well, opportunity lost for Tsonga again. You can catch the Australian Open today at 8 o'clock. That's 8 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday, on our partners Tennis Channel, bringing you the Australian Open.
Kind of get the feeling that this match might run into the evening session. The evening session starts here at 7:30.
It's now 5:15, just after. Tonight at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Rafael Nadal and Gilles Simon. Another France versus Spain quarterfinal matchup.
Simon beat him last year in Madrid. You don't think that Mr. Nadal remembers that?
For memory also, Brad, I think they played here in the early rounds last year, or maybe the year before, and they had a really tight opening set. Simon, for memory, had a 5-2 lead.
He plays a very similar style to Andy Murray, that he moves so well, doesn't give you much, and then all of a sudden from the strangest position strikes from the doubles alley.
That's a superb return, almost like he knows where Tsonga is going on the return. And just check this out here, Brad. You can see there of those aces, the 4 aces into the ad court, but for the most part he's serving pretty predictably, isn't he?
Yeah, he hasn't gone wide in the ad side at all. He's serving a ton to the Verdasco backhand,
which he just did again, but got away with it.
I would like to see that second serve direction as well.
Game, Tsonga.
We'll check it out for you and when we come back, Keller. On serve, 2-1 Tsonga. Tsonga leading by 2-1 in the second set. We're on serve, and there haven't been any breaks yet. First set and a tiebreak to Verdasco. Brilliant tiebreak. Let's check the serve direction here. This is the Tsonga serve direction that we showed you. Pretty predictable. Let's see how things look on the second serve. What do you think, Keller?
Well, obviously going mostly to the back and even to the body as well, and probably because he's a little bit scared of Verdasco getting a swing at the ball. A lot of second serves at the body.
They're pretty short too.
Yeah, a lot of short second serves. That was the one thing that allowed James Blake to get back into the third set the other night, as he started to drop that second serve short, and James got the first chance to get that big hit away.
Do you think Verdasco, since he's being pretty predictable on those second serves, maybe could start moving around and using the forehand?
Just for the record also, Simon did play Nadal in the third round of the Australian Open last year and lost 7-5, 6-2, 6-3. Had a 5-2 lead in the opening set.
How good is he? Nadal look down here. This is good work from Tsonga to get around that backhand, and then just, that's where he's at his best, when he's on the backhand side of the court, and he loves to hit that flat inside-out forehand. More court to work with. Tsonga is getting frustrated. It's a good second serve, 151K, swinging wide, and got up a little bit on Tsonga, and the footwork was a little bit slow. That's a big thumper that he just missed on 217. Beautiful tennis from Verdasco. Sensing that Tsonga wants to be running around that backhand, and that's an excellent backhand cross-court to the forehand.
Some left-handed champions. Rod Laver, of course, won 2 of the Grand Slams, meaning all 4 in 1 year. He's the only man ever to have done that. How about Jimmy Connors with that T2000? I think would have been even more successful player if he'd maybe switched to a bigger head when he was playing. Then John McEnroe, see there with a wooden racket, 7 slams. Vilas, he's here also, by the way, 4 slam titles, 2 here. Rafa Nadal, 5 Grand Slams titles so far. And there's Guillermo. He only won the French once. I thought
he won twice here on grass. And I tell you, Darren, that Verdasco's done a good job of not letting Tsonga get the emotion, get the crowd going.
You know what? I was just thinking that, Brad. You know, the crowd really wants to get behind Tsonga. He's a big favourite here, but Verdasco is just keeping his nose in front. I think everyone's really appreciating the tennis as well. It's been a hard-hitting tennis match, and both guys are moving around the court and throwing everything they have into this tennis. It's been a high-quality match so far.
Easy game for Tsonga. Change ends, fellas, and with no breaks of serve yet, who will draw first blood in this match? First in a tiebreak to Verdasco. That's the zoo, but you don't have elephants in Australia, do you? Except in the zoo? Natural elephants in Australia? No, that's right. India and Africa. Not here anyway, but this is live coverage from Melbourne Park, everyone, of this quarterfinal of the men's singles, and it has been absorbing stuff.
Who's going to give first?
I have a trivia question for you. Actually, this is the answer. What's the question? 6, 0, 2 and 2, 2, 3 and 2, 4, 2 and 2, 3, 2 and 4. What's the question?
Mr. Nadal's beatdowns?
Yes. Well done.
Nobody's got to 5 on him.
That's right. We're talking about the dominance.
Yeah, he's been taking guys to the shed. Verdasco's taking a long look at that line call.
Look at that differential. Only +3 for both players, Brad. Doesn't that say a lot for the speed of these guys and the defensive capability?
Yeah. And there's been some heavy hitting. All of a sudden, loose point gives Tsonga a look here, 5:30.
Well, Tsonga's had already 6 break chances in the match, no breaks. He's had 2 in this set.
That is a great serve. Cliffy, he threw it up like he was going to slice it, and then he sells the one up the middle. Because on the big points, he's been going wide so often to the Tsonga backhand. Excellent. 185 Ks, not the biggest, but it was the deception that did it. That's that kick slice where you kind of throw it up like you're going to hit another serve, and then you hit the same serve with the same toss.
Here is a chance again for Tsonga. But isn't it true to say, Brad, that it is much more difficult to win a point against the left-handed serve from the ad court because he's got those options?
Absolutely. That was a high-risk shot on a high ball for Verdasco that was up at his neck to try to bring that down the line. And a good change-up from Tsonga to hit the high spin forehand.
Break point. Oh man, that was a 1-inch putt. That was, I mean, how could he miss that? That thing was just like saying, kill me. Watch this again. This is a break point.
Great wide serve. Tsonga does so well just to get it in play. Good fear hand down the line. Smart play comes in.
What about that speed?
Yeah, and I think he just kind of took his eye off this.
I don't know that he could have asked for an easier put away.
Excellent footwork for Tsonga just to make him play the shot, and a gift.
I'm not sure if you saw it also, Brad, but Tsonga glanced back at him about 4 or 5 times after he missed that, probably looking to see his reaction, keeping an eye on Verdasco to see if he dropped his head.
You know, I was looking at the same, and he just flicked the ball to the side. He kept his calm.
Tsonga's challenge in the call. Left side center service line. Ball is called out.
Yeah, he challenged and he should have. That ball was an ace, so that turns from a fault call to an ace.
That is a huge swing. All of a sudden, instead of looking at a second serve at love 15, it's 15 all.
You're watching live coverage, everyone, from down under here in Melbourne, Australia. Men's singles quarterfinal. Tsonga and Verdasco. First set to Verdasco. Tsonga's got the break in the second. And now 30-15 in this game.
30-15.
Get 3 challenges per set, and if you get to a tie break, you get an additional challenge. They don't move over from one set to the other. As long as you are correct in your challenges, you keep getting them. You don't lose a challenge.
I think the only person that's a bigger fan of the challenges than me is you.
Yeah. I think it's been great for the game. I think it's been great for the play. I think the atmosphere of the whole match is so much more different. It's an athletic contest now, not an argument. Game point.
Game, Tsonga.
Tsonga holds. He's got a 5-2 lead after breaking Verdasco in the last game. It is, as Patrick McEnroe would say, a toasty day down under in Melbourne today. The current temperature here is 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Consequently, the roof is closed. And this complex that is usually jammed with people is, as you can see, basically empty as folks here scurry for shade and cool. And those 15,000 fans that are lucky enough to have tickets for this Rod Laver Arena are very happy about the fact that the roof is closed.
And Cliffy, I think they opened up Hisense Arena. I don't have a monitor here in front of me, but I think they sent a mixed doubles match across to Hisense. So a lot of the people that were outside have been allowed to go into Hisense Arena.
And Darren, if it stays this warm, I mean, for another couple of hours, will the evening match, do you think the roof will be closed as well?
No, well played. Yeah, 7:30 start. It might be a little late. You know, I got to believe they got to open the roof, Brad. It's a night match. It's an outdoor tournament. If it's nice conditions outside, warm but nice conditions, they need to open this thing up.
All of a sudden, that one volley, hopefully it won't linger for Verdasco, because remember in the Burdick match where he missed a couple of volleys, it completely changed the match when he was 2 sets to none.
That was against Federer.
Yep.
And yes, it did change the match.
And Brad, as you know, I'm not a big fan of the heat rule. But sitting courtside, I'm pretty happy they've got the roof closed.
How was it out there in your doubles today?
It was blistering hot. And you feel it more in the feet than anything else. You can deal with it in the body, but the feet are really burning.
Back to you. Thank you.
40-15.
He's going to challenge.
Sneaky shot.
Tsonga's challenging the call. Left side, near sideline. That was called in.
Ball was good.
That was a beautiful backhand angle.
So Verdasco holds, and bad news though for Verdasco is that Tsonga has not had any difficulty holding serve today.
He hasn't faced a break point.
No. Oh, that's nice how he just held that ball on his racket.
That was line on the serve, and that was line on the approach. This is a heavy approach, and then he takes his time on that. He took a little bit of a bad bounce, and he still handles it with ease. I tell you, Darren, Tsonga does a great job of like taking his time when he feels, you know, the importance of the set. Really takes a lot of time and goes after his serve.
You saw a picture there of Guillermo Vilas, who's again one of the lefties, and we're at 40
Henri
love here.
Lecomte was in there in the box.
Lecomte.
Yeah, another lefty.
Monsieur Barami, who's Iranian but who lives in Paris. They're interested in Tsonga. He's a Frenchman with a set point. Or 3. And one is all he needed, so this match is dead even. One set apiece. It's best of 5, and at stake a spot in the semi-finals, the final 4 of this first major of the year here.
Not too many people playing outside today. It's an absolutely brutal day. Roof closed here at Rod Laver Arena. Now 1 set all in this men's quarterfinal between Tsonga and Verdasco. Patrick McEnroe in our studios along with Bud Collins. And certainly the story for Andy Roddick unfolding very well. But in the first set tiebreak, it went to Djokovic here at the top of your screen. Roddick scrambling, hustling, lost the first set in a tiebreak. But he really set the tone for the rest of the match.
Well, Andy Roddick has always been an excellent athlete, but I think with his loss of weight, he's a little quicker, Patrick.
And he showed that off in the second set here. Beautiful stab volley. Roddick wins the second set 6-4. More of the same, and Roddick really started to unload his game, play aggressively in the third set. And coming to net, Bud, which I know you love to see.
Oh, I love to see it.
Roddick knocks off the overhead, wins the third set. On-court temperatures were brutal yesterday as well. Djokovic, who had played late into the night in his previous match, complained about that as far as his preparation went. Basically, he just said no mas. Djokovic could not handle the heat. Roddick was sprinting around the court, looked as fresh as could be in the fourth set. So Roddick moves on, and Tom Rinaldi just a few moments ago spoke with Roddick's new coach, Larry Stefanki.
Larry, obviously Andy preparing here for a huge match against Roger Federer. How would you assess his game right now?
Right now, I'm very happy. Coming from Doha into the Australia, he's ripe and ready. He's trained very, very hard. He feels pretty relaxed, pretty free. And he's serving very well and moving well, so it's all heading in the right direction.
Such a huge emphasis on fitness and a lot of attention paid to his weight loss. Why was that stressed so much by you?
You know, when you come down in the heat and you want to win 7 matches best of 5, his goal is to win Grand Slams. You got to do everything in your power to get in a situation where you put your best effort, your best fitness, your best preparation forward, and try to maximize those elements to get a Grand Slam victory. He hasn't had one now, since 5 or 6 years. That's a major goal for him this year, and all those pieces of the puzzle have to be together to win 7 matches in this type of a heat.
How have you seen that fitness manifest already to his benefit in this run?
Oh, well, I think you saw just with Djokovic right there. I mean, he drop shotted him a lot. That was the first one in the tournament that a guy has been successful. Only one, and the other ones he was all over the ball. He's very quick right now. His attention is very high. He's very relaxed and in tune, and he feels comfortable out there. So fitness is a huge thing, and I think that's just part of the ingredients to becoming relaxed and being able to play your best. Is when you have that fitness, you have something to fall back on.
A long and challenging history against Federer, obviously. Yes. What's the one thought, Larry, you want Andy to carry with him in his mind out onto that court for that match?
Play Andy's game. Stay near the baseline, take the ball on the rise, keep serving the way you've been serving, but most importantly, play your game. I don't care what Roger's doing. Roger's a great defensive player, but Andy's an excellent server. And the variety, as long as he doesn't try to hit it too big and get out of his comfort zone and trying to play bigger than he needs to keep doing the same, just like he played with Djokovic. If he can do that, I expect pretty good things.
Larry Stefanki, it will certainly be a match that everybody in America will be watching. Larry, we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Certainly straight shooter is Coach Stefanki, and he's got Andy Roddick, his man, prime for this matchup. Obviously, Roger Federer, certainly the favorite. He's 15-2 overall against Roddick. But Roddick, with a win last year, with the way he's looking now, certainly has to feel like he's got a chance. Live Thursday at 3:30 a.m., our live coverage, and then we'll re-air it later Thursday at 3 p.m. Should be a heck of a semifinal, but right now we got a heck of a quarterfinal going on right now on Rod Laver Arena. Let's send it back inside to Cliff and Brad. Guys?
Thank you, Patrick, and we do have a heck of a quarterfinal going on here. It's one set apiece now, tie break to Verdasco, and then Tsonga 1 break, 6-3. First game, third set, 30-15.
There's that runaround forehand, Cliffy. You give Tsonga anything hanging, he's very quick and decisive to running around the backhand and then flattens it out.
Yeah, it is a lethal weapon, this forehand that he flattens out, as you said, Brad. So the issue for Verdasco is to keep doing what he did in that last point, which is get it out of the strike zone of the Frenchman.
Yeah, don't give him anything hanging where he can really just take the one shot and end it. That's what Tsonga can do, is take one shot and end it. That's good work from Verdasco. I like that first shot, Cliffy, when Verdasco goes to the Tsonga forehand.
First game, third set.
And Verdasco also needs to try and manufacture something on Tsonga's service games, because at the moment he's under no threat and he needs to be much more aggressive on the second serve. The first serve, Tsonga is too good. He's getting his free points, but every time he misses that first, Verdasco's got to take a lot more risk on the second.
Saw that draw with Nadal and Simon about to play tonight here down under in Melbourne Park. You're watching Verdasco and Tsonga,
and you know, if you're in the Simon camp, he's saying, can they keep this roof closed? Who wants to play Nadal in this heat?
Yeah, but I can't imagine that at 7:30 tonight they're not going to open the roof. You were asking that.
I think we're going to be a little later start. I don't think this match, this has got a lot left in it. Hey, Darren, if you were Verdasco, would you maybe back up on the first serve or change your stance? He kind of seems like he's locked into the same stance the whole match on the first serve return.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth a try. I guess how many points has he won on the first serve, Brad?
First serve points won for the match, 34 out of 40 for Tsonga. 85%.
He seems to be moving around a little bit there. He backed up a little more, and it's tough on the first court, the juice court, because the Tsonga serve is going wide to the Verdasco backhand, and it's really opening up the court for that first. So you try and play that as close to the baseline as possible. On the ad court, you can certainly step back a little more and feel much more comfortable. That's the one, though, I think Verdasco can be much more aggressive on. Even skip around and hit a few of those as forehands, because just about every second serve is going to the same spot.
Yeah, it's a surprise. Look at that, nearly 80% on first serves on that second set for Tsonga. That makes a huge difference, and Verdasco just has not had a look in at all, and 12 winners against 2. Very clean set there from the Frenchman.
Tremendous. And a late challenge.
Ball, right side service line. Ball is called out.
Oh, that is about as close of a miss as you can have.
1 millimeter.
See, that's the one you're talking about, Darren, where Verdasco I think he can hit that on a forehand.
Take a look at the Verdasco return point. You were asking about this, Brad.
Yeah, where he's just consistently going every one to the backhand. And you got to make your opponent know that you're going to do something different. And a lot of times, too, on the backhand return, he's getting inside the baseline and not doing enough. And here we go.
That was a great graphic, though, to show the different returning positions from the juice court to the ad court.
Yeah, in the deuce court, Verdasco is much more confident coming inside the baseline.
First break chance for Verdasco.
He's waited 1 hour and 42 minutes to have a sniff.
And he's got a second serve. He's missed it, and the breaker serve goes to the Spaniard.
That was an unbelievable get from Verdasco. Second serve, he was guessing the wrong way, and he went to that squash shot return and got back in the point. Great defense.
Athleticism. But both players well, because I thought the topspin lob had made it over Tsonga's head. He did a great job to get back to that and stay in the point.
Darren, that's the first time I've noticed from Tsonga. You know, he had his shoes and socks off the entire changeover at the set. Does he look like he's starting to get a little fatigued?
He lumbered towards that backhand, that defensive backhand. And, you know, he can play cat and mouse a little bit. He can give the indication that he's struggling physically. Then all of a sudden he'll go and turbocharge. But just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the wheels have a little shaky there on Tsonga at the moment because, as you said, that last point, he hit 2 slice backhands that were very defensive.
And I told you at the start of the match, I gave a huge check for the fitness factor in this match to Verdasco. And this is, Cliffy, where if you're Verdasco, it's not time to get conservative. Don't hope that your opponent gives it to you. Make him keep running. Open up the court. If he is hurting, make him hurt more.
You coaches, you Brad, and you Killer Cahill, you guys are brutal. And you just want to, like, when the guy's down, you just want to stomp all over him.
You have to sense the moment, and when you have a moment in a match, you cannot let it get away from you.
I'm not arguing with you, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, Cliffy, this is where you sit down next to your guy and you say, the harder you work, the harder your opponent has to work. This is where every one of those neutral balls, Verdasco needs to make them forehands.
Yeah, if he gives up his edge, all of a sudden, you know, maybe Tsonga gets that second life.
30-all.
Exactly what he did there. Great point from Verdasco.
He got physical from the first shot, and he's, you know, you got to stop worrying about your opponent and worry about what you're going to do. Made Tsonga run 3 corners. Now let's see what his fitness is like after a quick reset.
So a centerpiece, but now a nice lead for Spain's Verdasco. 3-zip in the 3rd set here from Melbourne Park. Wilfried Tsonga. You know, tennis players have kind of like boxers. They've got to do a lot of moving. Look at this Muhammad Ali lookalike. Just watch his feet here. Forget about the racket for a second. Skip, 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 run, run, change direction, and then forward, and then backward, and then sideways, and then jump in the air. I mean, it takes its toll. And he has been taking his shoes off on the changeover, so there's obviously, as you can see there, there's some kind of issue with his feet. And did I hear you guys say he's got 3 pairs of socks on?
It looked, yeah, he's got 2 pairs on, took 1 off, and then he looked like he put 2 more pairs on. It looks like he's got 3 pairs of socks on that 1 foot.
15.
Darren, did you notice anything about the socks on the changeover?
Yeah, he actually may have taken 1 pair off and put a clean pair on or a dry pair of socks on. And the sweating is an issue here. The foot can start to slide around in the shoe, and that's when you get the blisters and the heat on the sole of the feet.
15 low.
And right now, Cliffy, if you're Verdasco, you don't want to play any loose points. You want to make Tsonga earn them, because all of a sudden, if he does have a little lull physically, all of a sudden that's how you get 5-6 games in a row on the trot. And I think Verdasco, physically, he's ready to go for 5 sets. And you know what? More than physical, it helps you mentally that all of a sudden that's not a worry for you, and that when you know that, all of a sudden it elevates your game, and some of the nerves that he had last year and the year before are out the window.
On the left in the white shirt is the coach of Tsonga, Eric Winogradsky.
Sales. This is a delicate moment here in this match.
And one thing about Tsonga, he's starting to get trapped further behind the baseline. And when you're 7 to 8 feet behind the baseline, it's harder to slap winners. And if he's feeling it physically, you know, all of a sudden those shots are tougher.
No, that's where he needs to be. And as you said, if he's too far back, that shot, you just take it out of your arsenal.
Yeah, that one was a good first serve from Tsonga, and he was up on the baseline, and that's his favorite shot, that inside-out forehand.
Yes. Watching live coverage, everyone, at 6 p.m. this evening down under here in Melbourne, Australia. Cliff Drysdale, Brad Gilbert, and Darren Cahill enjoying this quarterfinal men's singles match. We're at 1 set apiece, but Verdasco of Spain is in front of Tsonga of France now in the third, 3 games to love. Oh! Tsonga serving, and this is a break point to let Verdasco go up 2 breaks in the third set.
And Cliffy, I get the feeling the rest of this tournament, it's going to come down to who's the fittest and who can handle this heat. And it looks to me right now that Tsonga is starting to suffer.
He's right, isn't he, Killer?
Mm-hmm. His feet are really hurting. I wouldn't be surprised if he calls a trainer here.
You know, this tournament down under, it always has, seems to always anyway, have a surprise men's finalist. Marcus Baghdatis, remember him? Federer beat him in the final, and then about Fernando Gonzalez, 07. Tsonga was the surprise finalist in 08, and the players are aware of it, you know.
How about Andre beating Schutler and Arnaud Clement in 2001, 2003? So we've had quite a few in this decade.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the year of the top 4 who were going to waltz into the semifinals, that it hasn't happened.
I tell you what I'm seeing for Verdasco is that he's going to go from the top 20 player. I believe that he can be a top 8 player. Very important for Verdasco to just keep hammering away at Tsonga. Don't let him have anything.
Oh, what a great point. I tell you what, Cliff, he's looking over to his entourage there to see if that ball was in or out. It was definitely out. Don't worry about challenging that, but that is just great ball striking.
I know why you like it is because you guys are both Agassi guys, and you just want to just kill
body
this boy.
blows. Keep
27 strokes in that rally.
Keep giving the body blows. Don't let the guy off the canvas. A little bit of a hiccup this game has allowed Tsonga to get a quick love 40.
But he's down 2 breaks at 4 love.
Yeah, but this is still a big message to Sand that at 4 love, if he can find his way out of this game, imagine the momentum going into the 4th set for Verdasco. This is a big game for Fernando.
Yeah, I agree with you. Don't let a guy have any belief.
He makes the passing shot, and Tsonga's got 1 break back. Remember that Tsonga was not broken at all in the first 2 sets. Now he's been broken twice in the third. 4-1. As you can see some of the folks from the shaded areas here, it is a really hot day.
You're dealing with the guy who's probably the greatest ever.
I'm excited to play against him and seeing him, you know, create an upset in the big tournament. Seems like he's playing well.
He has nothing to prove.
Obviously always dangerous.
He's the greatest.
Two giants of the game. Andy Roddick, top player in the US, takes on Roger Federer, now number 2 in the world, as Nadal took the top spot in the world at the end of last year, live at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and a repeat at 3 in the afternoon.
And Cliffy, I think the most important thing in the Roddick camp and for Andy is you won the last match. You know, don't say he's the greatest player ever. You got to go out and think that you beat him the last time and you can beat him again. Beautiful shot. And Verdasco has to keep his tempo up. You know, kind of came down the last game a little bit, his intensity. And if you're Verdasco, just keep banging away. Don't let a guy get his second win. Darren, I've also noticed on Tsonga the miles per hour have come way down on the serve.
Yeah, so also the timing on his first serve has gone off a little bit. It looks like he's lost a bit of rhythm on that first serve and definitely on that last second serve.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice little hot volley. Drop shot, and it's 30 all 4-1 Verdasco.
That was 176 Ks on the first serve, which is 109 miles an hour. And what a drop, half volley drop shot. Looked like Federer last night.
Tsonga holds. So it's 4-2 now as he's got 2 in a row. 2 hours old this match and 1 minute now. I'm still looking at some past men's singles champions and finalists, and it is amazing how if you go back to you know, like 95, you had Agassi Sampras in the final. 2 years later, who'd have thought that Carlos Moya would be in the final? And then you had Peter Korda. Remember him? He won. How surprising was that? Then Enquist was in the final. Then, you know, Clermont was in the final. Johansson, Schüttler, Baghdadis, Gonzalez, Tsonga.
This of any of the majors, because it comes so early in the year with such little preparation, you throw in the brutal conditions. That's why things can happen here that like can no other tournament for me in majors. Because by the time we get to the French, there's been a lot of play on the clay. You get to the grass, you know, a few surprise semifinalists, but there's usually dominant players in the U.S. Open. Same thing, you get the whole U.S. Open series. So there's so much more play into those surfaces.
Wow. Yeah, look at that. Really getting pumped up now. He's played a little rope-a-dope here early in this set. Gave the impression that he couldn't move around the court anymore and the energy levels were down, but the last 5 or 10 minutes, he's back in this.
Yeah, and Tsonga's got a lot more body where he feels he's in the match a little bit. He's getting fired up. And it was that 4-0 game where all of a sudden Verdasco did a little donating.
That's it. Wow. I tell you, he is making Tsonga work hard. Looks like Tsonga is ready to work, but at that point, a point like that is going to take a lot out of the Frenchman.
And that's the kind of point where you play a point like that, where you get 3 more points after that when you make a guy work that hard. Work, 2 points in a row from Verdasco, and that's the first time since 4-0 that he really stretched him a couple of points, and that's how you get the lungs burning.
Well, neither player really looks like they're sucking wind out here. Verdasco looks strong as an ox, and even Tsonga, he's back, he's ready to go again.
It's just amazing how you see this roller coaster ride of matches and players' attitudes within a match, because now Tsonga really looks like he's had enough of being on the ropes. He wants to start calling the shots again, and that's exactly where he's got to be. That is his first double fault of the second set, and in the first 2 sets he only served 1. Yes. And you guys were talking about the fact that he used to have a problem with that.
Yep, that's his second of the match, and you know, the last point at 40-15, he laid in a serve at 160 Ks, and I think that sometimes when he starts getting nervous about his second serve, he brings down the MPHs too much on that first serve.
Tsonga to get back on serve in the 3rd set. Who'd have thought that about 10 minutes ago?
Tsonga was about 15 feet back. Verdasco could have come in on that second ball and he would have had a high volley. And all of a sudden we got some big time tension coming from Verdasco. There you go. 211 Ks is 131.
Strike zone of the Frenchman, and Tsonga just beautiful. Excuse me, he just watch the way he just slides this one for the pass. No problem.
Thought Tsonga was going to move to the open court. Tsonga chose to stay at home, and he rifles it up the line.
Great
wow.
point.
He's making life tough for himself. Another couple of chances there for Verdasco to come in behind those forehands early in the point.
And Darren, ever since he missed that one volley to get broken, it just seems like Verdasco does not want to come in.
There's crocodiles at the service line.
Good swinging volley. But boy, was Verdasco pushing Tsonga a long ways away from the baseline. I also get the feeling, Darren, that if Verdasco can hold on here these next couple of games, that Tsonga has really made a little push here physically. And I think he's about to hit that second level of resistance and getting tired again.
I agree.
Yeah, that one sails, and Verdasco maintains the lead. He's still got the break at 5-2 now.
ESPN's presentation of the Australian Open is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
They have cancelled some of the trains here in the Melbourne area because it is so hot that the tracks have buckled. So they've got firefighters out there hosing them down in an effort to allow the trains to run. That is how hot it is here in the southeastern part of this continent of Australia, everyone, that hosts this first major championship of the year. And we are, as a result of that, playing this on an indoor court here at Laver Arena. There's your differential.
It's amazing. Verdasco's only 21-21. It seems like he's forced a lot more play. Like 38-35.
But yeah, it's been a high-quality match.
Yeah, they've had a lot of points where Verdasco's run Tsonga from corner to corner 4 or 5 times, and Tsonga ends up being the one pulling the trigger.
It's 2-5, and it's 1 set apiece.
And they tell us, Cliffy, at 6:20 in the evening, it is still 108 degrees outside. No wonder why things are buckling. And you get the feeling that if Verdasco can just get a break here or win this set 6-3, I get the feeling that he can take this match over, because I think he is ready to go physically, and that is the difference that he was missing mentally. And Darren, what does Gilly always say? Just trust your legs. Keep trusting your legs. That's why you go to the gym. Keep trusting the legs.
Why you put all the work in is for these moments. And Gilly would be sitting back there in Las Vegas at the moment in a nice, cool, air-conditioned room, feet up on the couch, enjoying this match immensely.
Oh, beautiful. Excellent swinging wide serve, and then that inside-out forehand sets up game point.
And James Tsonga, okay, he's broken once this set. He in turn was broken a couple of times, so Verdasco here with a shot at going up by 2 sets to 1.
Tail of the tape that we said at the bottom was the big one, was the fitness factor. I gave the forehand and backhand to Verdasco, the serve and the foot speed, the net play and the defense to Tsonga. Now I'm sitting there thinking about the defense. I might put that even, or maybe even put it to the other side. But if I could put a double check on the bottom, that was for the fitness for Verdasco, which I really felt was going to come into play in this match.
Even more so if the roof was open.
Oh, no. If the roof was open, this was a TKO like yesterday. We were done in a set and a half, because if guys are playing in 108 degrees, which I'd like to see a little bit of, we're going to really find out who's put in the hard yards.
He missed that, and it's 15-all. Make that 30-love Verdasco, a couple of points away from the set.
And on the ladies' side, I tell you, Dementieva looks like she's put in the hard yards, and she's going to be somebody that's going to be a tough match next for Serena Williams. Oh, excellent forehand.
30-15.
Darren, you'd think that Verdasco would start kind of camping on that. When he does run around it, he almost always goes inside out.
Verdasco was fairly happy with the depth and the pace on that second serve. I think that caught him a bit by surprise.
Beautiful.
Way to come back, though, and so good to see him on a big point. 30-15, bring the heat, 208 kilometers per hour.
Set point.
Chasing the ball toss there.
Yeah, that one was a little behind him. And
stay with us, because we're talking about the ball toss, and we're going to be talking about it in a lot more detail after this game. With a tweener
from the baseline.
Wow. Saves 2 set points.
Verdasco's got to take his time here.
He's got to shake that up.
Yeah.
I'm in shock that he played that shot.
He threw in a 165 first serve as well because of that ball toss.
Yeah, that was a nervy first serve to start the point. And I cannot believe that he even attempted that shot. I'm in shock.
Approach into the backhand side, but the pass cross court, and he was up to it.
And Darren, once again, that was a bit of a nervy serve. And Verdasco does well off of this slice approach. And Tsonga should have made that volley.
He had it anticipated. He has another set point coming up.
That was his biggest serve that he attempted of the match. 136.
That's called wide, but he's going to
challenge.
That's what was challenging the call. Right side, far sideline. Always called out.
That's a positive point from Verdasco, though. A big, heavy second serve and going after the forehand. This is going to be close.
It's called good, and at least on the review, it puts the line. Is it the set, or do you play 2?
There's no way you should play 2 on that.
Could Tsonga have got to that ball?
Yeah, he got a hold of it. You got to play 2 on that. Tsonga got a hold of it.
I don't think he could have got that in play. He didn't get it in play.
Anyway, it's 2. Still set point.
Net.
Oh, wow.
Fernando Verdasco leads by 2-1 in this quarter-final match against Jo Wilfried Tsonga. We were talking about the ball toss, so we continue our technically speaking series, and it is on the serve toss.
Well, there's a news bulletin on court 2. Brad and I actually agree on something, and that is that the serve is the most important shot in tennis. When you think about it, of the points played, 50% of the time, you have total control over this shot. And in order to have a good serve, you need a good ball toss.
Absolutely. To me, the biggest key about a good ball toss is putting it in the same spot, so your opponent doesn't have a good read on your serve. Pete Sampras and Andy Roddick, 2 guys that have a very dependable toss. They can hit all the spots with the same toss. Hence, they have great serves.
Meanwhile, a player here we've seen with the most undependable ball toss is Ana Ivanovic, last year's French Open
And
winner.
then she's 88 and out the gate. Let's take a look at a couple of good tosses, and we'll show you a couple of bad tosses.
You handle the good ones.
Okay.
I can do the bad ones.
Left hand, left pocket, straight up. And not a bad little thing is to draw a little X where you feel your comfort zone is, where you can make good contact. You just want to let it float off your hand. It should be relaxed, and you just flick it off. And you should be able to catch it blindfolded. It's a harmony to the whole serve. So goes your toss, so goes your serve. How high do I throw the toss? My coach told me when I was a little guy, extend your racket as high as you can, and that's about the height of your toss that you want. Measure your racket, left hand, left up, straight up, boom.
Brad, every sport, they have the rituals, whether you're a free throw shooter or a putter, and certainly with a serve, that's the case.
The good routine usually makes a good serve. If you don't have the same routine, your serve is usually not going to be effective or dependable. Djokovic happens to be one of the guys that you never know. He could bounce the ball 5 times or he can bounce the ball 20 times. He's the exception.
Brad, you're talking like somebody who's never had a problem with a service yet. For the first 6 years I played, I never had a bad toss. One bad toss corrupted my whole confidence, and I think that's what's happened to Ana Ivanovic. Started to have the bad ball toss, and now it's totally corrupting her entire game.
She's chasing her toss. And when you're chasing your toss, you're at the mercy of the toss. You'll never have a good serve. So remember at home, relax, get a routine, 1, 2, 3, left hand, left pocket, straight up. And just practice catching it, and if you can catch it, you can hit a good serve. And Cliffy, I also have a product that I'm involved with called the Toss Assist. For you club players at home, it's a great little gadget to help you with the toss.
Start of the 4th set. It's 30 love Verdasco.
Love 30.
Love 30, pardon me.
Yeah, big moment here and great chance for Verdasco.
I get the feeling that Tsonga made a huge push to get back into that 3rd set, and all of a sudden this is a huge opportunity for Verdasco to just take his heart out. And it seems like, Darren, when he gets a little tired, the serve starts to go away. Great body blows from Verdasco, moving the big man side to side.
Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, a finalist here last year at the Australian in a big surprise.
Maybe it's Verdasco, the surprise of 09.
Break points for Verdasco, and he's got a 2-set-to-1 lead. Players will change heads with Verdasco in front, and he jogs to the side. Tsonga will casually walk to the side, and the message is clear.
Thanks for that towel.
And you know what? Emotion is a huge part of Tsonga's game. And right now, he doesn't have the energy to let that part of his game go. And there's a lot of reserve in the Verdasco tank. And the finish line is a heck of a lot nearer.
And you know what, Brad? This is one of the few matches that he's played at the Australian Open where he's really been unable to get the crowd emotionally involved in the match. And it's been a pretty quiet crowd, 50-50 support for both players. And normally in a Tsonga match here in Melbourne, he has at least 80% of the crowd behind him.
Yeah, I think he's too tired to be celebrating and get the crowd fired up. He hasn't done any of the jumping fist pumps. And Verdasco has stayed very even-keeled this whole match. And Darren, I get the feeling that if Fernando just can handle his nerves here, he can sprint through this fourth set. I think he's the fitter and the stronger player. And mentally, he is so much improved since last year.
Cast your mind back to New Haven. We were doing a bit of a look forward to the US Open. Remember, Brad, we had a big graphic there as the players that we thought would do well, and Fernando Verdasco was my player as the one to watch that I thought would cause a bit of damage at the US Open, but he still had those serving problems.
Which are, for the most part, now behind him. He's only served 3 double faults. His first serve percentage still very high, about 3 out of 4 first serves he's been getting in the court. But to me, he's just relentless from the ground. He doesn't miss. He's got a big margin for error of both shots.
There's the difference, though, Cliff. You know, 217 kilometres per hour on the first serve. He was playing match after match and could not break 100 mile an hour on the first serve.
Yes, no doubt that's true, Killer. And I was more than surprised at the way he finished up the match against Andy Murray as you watch this again.
And that's the strength of being in the gym where all of a sudden you have reserve in the tank. He served bigger in that 5th set than he did at any point in the match.
So he holds, and it's 2 games to love, 2-1 Verdasco.
And you know what I like too, Darren, is he's keeping calm. He's not celebrating too much. He's very much in the moment right now, Fernando Verdasco.
Nadal, Simone tonight. The winner of this match takes on the winner of that one for a spot in the final here in Melbourne. Tsonga broke into the top 10 with 2 ATP titles last year. One was in Bangkok, and then he won the Masters Series event in Paris in October, beating Nalbandian. That's in addition to the final here in Australia that he enjoyed.
I don't think Verdasco won a tournament last year. Darren, has he won 1 tournament in his career? He's too good of a player to be where he is, and after what I'm seeing from him this tournament, especially at semifinals, if he wins, he's going to be moving into the top 10.
He got his second title at Umag against Igor Andreev. That was a clay court tournament, and he finished in the top 20 for the first time, Verdasco, last year.
I think next year, this time, we're going to say a lot more things about him.
Not to forget that he was the Davis Cup hero for Spain in the championship against Argentina in Buenos Aires. Clinched with a 5-set win over Jose Acasuso. Also on the doubles with Lopez, his buddy. They're both from Madrid, he and Lopez.
What a shock defeat for Argentina. No Nadal in Argentina. They haven't lost a match down there in years.
Incredibly, also, Fernando Verdasco is the lowest ranked quarterfinalist. He's not really a bolter. If he was to make it through to a final, you wouldn't really think he was a rank outsider because his ranking is 15.
Yeah, we had 7 of the top 8 in the quarterfinals, and if Murray had won, we had never once in the Open era had all top 8 seeds make the quarterfinals.
So this is not over yet by any means. Still a break for Verdasco, and he's up 2-1. Continuing brutal conditions today down under in Melbourne. Tiffany Cherry with some more on that. Tiffany?
Well, amazingly, there's about 500 people. You can hear the band playing. They're entertaining them. They are surviving these brutal conditions. The temperature today officially in the city of Melbourne reached around about 110, a couple of degrees higher actually at Melbourne Park. But the scary thought is that Adelaide, which is the city that's closest to Melbourne, they reached their hottest day ever on record of 114 degrees, and that is where our weather is coming from. So if we thought today was hot, tomorrow is going to be an absolute scorcher. At this point in time, no decision has been made as to whether they're going to reopen the roof heading into tonight's match. But one thing is for certain, if the roof is closed at the start of the match, it will remain closed for the duration of that match.
Thanks for that. Thanks a lot, Tiffany. And it's 2-1 here, 2-1 Verdasco. Verdasco serving, so he's got the break in the 4th set.
And if the roof is closed tonight, I mean, Simon has a puncher's chance.
Negative on that.
But if the roof was open playing Nadal, that's a TKO. That's 0.0. And all of a sudden, Darren, that's something that all of a sudden, you know, that gives you more of a chance in your feeling if all of a sudden you don't have to worry about that. I don't think Simon could even finish a match in that kind of conditions outside. But you close the roof, anything is possible, because he beat him indoors in Madrid.
No, you make a good point. I'm not giving him nearly enough credit. Simon is a very, very good player.
I'll be honest with you, Darren, though. I don't care how hot it is at night. I think the roof should be open at night. What do you think, Cliffy?
I think it's going to be open, and yeah, I think not about whether it should or not. I do think it's going to be.
Beautiful feed again from Verdasco, and just doing the things he needs to keep doing here in the 4th set, and that's aggressive with the feet and aggressive with the forehand. Take control of those points.
Game point for 3-1. He's up 2-1.
And I love the way he's going about his business for Verdasco. He's just playing the next point. And he looks so solid physically. And Tsonga has looked out of gas, remember, since early in the 3rd set.
Well, he was out of gas in the early stages, got down 4-0, then he got 1 break back, and it looked like he was going to enjoy a second win, but Verdasco kept
jumping around, he's sprinting. What a great message he's sending right now to Tsonga, that I've got a lot left in the tank.
One, 3.
And look from how far out of court Verdasco is. He gets a lot of stick on that forehand.
Oh, he just slides that one down the line. Tsonga has got to find a way to get these points over with quickly, but that's not easy against the defensive capability of Verdasco, whose confidence right now is really high.
But Cliff, I feel like Tsonga's game is so much feeding off of emotion, and he's just not able to generate or fire himself up. His box is not fired up, and therefore his body language is just not sending a good message that he can win this match.
No, it's a very good point, and it's something that I'm sure Killer will agree with. Because I've noticed during this tournament that you two, both you and Killer, are so in tune with the nuances of a match and the reaction of players during a match. You know, Killer wants Leighton Hewitt to give it the command of every point, so the crowd.
No, I don't like that. That's a selectively. Selectively. Pick your spots.
Game point. 3-2, breaker serve Verdasco, 2-1. We're live down under in Melbourne.
You're dealing with the guy who's probably the greatest ever.
I'm excited to play against him and seeing him, create an upset in the big tournament. Seems like he's playing well.
He has nothing to prove.
Obviously always dangerous.
He's the greatest.
So Federer and Roddick are in the semi-final of this year's first major event, as they will contest a spot in the final, for a spot in the final.
And I'm going to make a guarantee that Roddick's got a shot to win that match if that roof is open tomorrow. No matter how hot it is, he needs the roof to be open to see if fitness becomes a part of the equation.
Look out, here comes Tsonga again.
This is where he made his push in the last set a little bit to get into the set, and this is where Verdasco has got to stay strong off the first shot.
You can just hear the effort into every single one of those ground strokes. He's going to give it everything he has here.
Oh, big serve.
Not much you can do about that.
215 is 133.5. And an excellent ball toss, and he just reaches up beautifully. That's great road work.
Not only did he get to it, but look at the way that he whips up on this thing to keep. Look, that ball was pretty low when he makes contact, but he puts some topspin on the ball and whips it.
It looked like he was picking up a 7-10 split in bowling. He just beautiful spin.
30-15.
Tennis just picked up about 15% all of a sudden.
Yeah, it did, didn't
Tsonga is leaning into those ground strokes. You know, sometimes he can arm the ball back there, or every single ground stroke, he's leaning his whole body into it, getting an extra 10-15% pace on the ball.
And Darren, isn't this the way that he should have played all match long?
You would have thought so, Cliff.
And also, too, on those last couple of ground strokes, Tsonga was much closer to the baseline where his shots can go through the court instead of being 10 feet behind the baseline.
He did it. That's a spectacular serve return. Flattening out the backhand side, clean winner, and Tsonga's got a chance to break back and get back on serve.
That was a nervy first serve. That was 103-mile-an-hour first serve in the slot. Beautiful.
Mr. Verdasco there in the front row on the right.
He's mixed up the serve so well there in the ad court. I mean, you have no idea, and Tsonga has no idea which way he's going to serve because he can.
Yeah, because he sold a couple up the middle of this game, and in the wide one, he served much better in the ad side than he has in the deuce.
That one sails, and here's another chance for Tsonga. He's not finished yet.
Breakpoint conversions are the difference in this match. Verdasco is 3 of 3, and Tsonga is 2 out of 12. That is the one stat that's the match.
Brad, that was a flat return of serve, a good return of serve from Tsonga, and I don't know how he controlled that to hit that forehand down the line with that pace.
Tsonga anticipated the wide serve, flattened it out, and Verdasco just bust that forehand up the line. Risky shot, and he's rewarded. This game is going to take a lot out of Tsonga. He's made a huge push.
Big effort. It's discouraging for the Frenchman, and here's a game point now for Verdasco for 4-2.
Darren, his biggest serve of the match at a crucial time. 135.4.
There is a difference in the match also, is that Tsonga, from an energy level and fitness level, has made little pushes throughout the match. He hasn't had the fitness to keep on coming, but this guy on the other side of the court, he's been like a steam train. He has not stopped for anything.
And there's no way 6 months ago we would have seen this from Fernando Verdasco. This is why he is, at this moment, playing better tennis than he ever has at any point.
So these are his words from Verdasco. This year I wanted to try something different, so I joined Gil in Vegas. To finish in the top 10, I'm going to have to be very fit and more consistent with my performances. My results will say if this relationship is successful, but so far I'm very happy with Gil. And I think you could qualify this as a very, what you were saying, Killer, a very consistent match from the Spaniard. 15-all.
And you know what? Instead of resting in the offseason to get ready for the new season, what Fernando Verdasco has done, what a lot of players should do, he's invested in his game. He's put himself in position to do things that he never could do before.
Tsonga, who was the finalist here last year, is on the brink of going out. This is 30-all. That was 15-30. Down a break, down 2 sets to 1. And let's go back to that break point stat that you just referenced a couple of points ago. 3 of 3.
When he's gotten his chance, he's taken him. and 2 of 13 Tsonga. What an opportunity right now for Verdasco. Got him.
There's the insurance break for the Spaniard. Wow. He'll serve for the match and a spot in the semi-final when we come back. That is the spot where all of Melbourne would like to be, not here, because nobody wants to be playing against this kid. He just played so strong, and he has been mentally and physically as tough as nails today, and he's on the brink of a spot in the semi-finals. What he's got to do is hold serve here. He's up 5-2, 2 breaks, and he's up 2-1 against last year's finalist.
And I'll tell you, 2 years ago, he lost second round in a 3-set match to Andy Murray, and he was exhausted after 2 sets. Shows you how much he's improved in 2 years. And before the first round, he was 0-5 in his career against Andy Murray. That was a huge step.
Talked about preparation, Brad, for this event. Andy Murray also prepared well for it and was a pre-tournament favorite by many accounts. And Verdasco took him out in 5 absorbing sets. Match point. There is always, it seems, a surprising finalist, and Fernando Verdasco, the number 14 seed at this year's Australian Open, acknowledges the crowd here in Melbourne Park after this win. That was a surprise, at least according to the seeds here. But I guess, Brad, that for you, not that surprising as he takes out last year's finalist.
He showed me a lot, and he's going to have his work cut out for him if he plays Nadal. I know he's never beaten him, but he'd never beaten Andy Murray.
Nadal Simone tonight.
I mean, Nadal is playing devastating tennis right now.
Fernando Verdasco in the early stages, where to me was the most important part of the match, was able to hold on. No breaks in that first set, but he got the mini break in the tie break and held on. Tsonga came back, won the second set, but ran out of steam, and it is Fernando Verdasco who's in the semi-final of this first major of the year.